Hello, everybody. I am Steven. That's Zach. And we are usually quite long-winded in these kinds of videos, but we're going to try to not be right now. What we're talking about today is a really special item that we've got a relatively small amount of. It's a Lancelot playmat using the art from our promo card for Arthurian Legends and Sorcery. It was done by the inimitable Liz Danforth, the best, the iconic, the person who spun my dreams as a young fantasy enjoyer.
Lad.
And the Middle Earth TCG, of course, being a great example of that. We did a whole video with you about how her representation of the Nazgul in that game was the inspiration for this piece of art, and Erik keyed into that watching one of our streams. So special to have a publishing partner that is that tuned in and just thoughtful about this kind of stuff. So there's a small amount of these. I mean, relatively small amount of these. They're available on our website. They're $40. They have the half grid on them, and you got Lancelot staring at you. You get more of the art than was available in just the card frame. Yeah. And so a big inspiration of this, I know, was that Erik and you wanted to see this art in a much greater majesty than just in the smaller rectangular form that it was originally presented.
Yeah, I had a chance to sit down with Liz and talk about this piece of art at Sorcery Con in, what was that, November 2024, for those watching way later.
Long time ago.
And it's just the kind of artwork that needs to be in as many places as we can reasonably put it. So seeing it show up here, and it's just a very art-forward, minimal playmat, which I'm a huge fan of. But it was amazing getting to sit down and talk with Liz about this. If you dig this, you can buy the playmat on our website. Otherwise, sit back and enjoy my chat with Liz. What a fantastic person, and so much to say about this piece.
Erik asked me to do Lancelot, and so of course my sketch was this beautiful man. And he said, no, I need him in armor and in a helm. And I'm going, how will you be able to tell he's Lancelot if he's not a gorgeous guy? And he said, nope, that's what I need. And I was like, okay, I've got to do something else to make this a remarkable piece. And I said, if I have to show the armor, I'm going to make the best damn armor I can. The way I got to that armor has a few steps. Although I was never active in the SE, I have many friends who are or were. And one of the pieces he showed me was, there is one of the kings, and I don't know which one, who has a full replica breastplate of a copy, modern copy of Filippo Negroli's Renaissance armor. It took the man 6 months for the armorer to replicate this for him. And I was going, that is just freaking gorgeous. But then I followed the breadcrumbs back, ended up buying this huge thick book of Negroli's arms and armor. And so I was able to look at a lot of the different pieces he had, who his competitors were, and the rest of it was just pieces I invented or built up to suit myself. Some of what I was struggling with was how to make it interesting, beyond just, I painted pretty armor. The photograph of the modern SCA knight, or king rather, does have his hand, holding the bottom of the breastplate, and so I had that for a reference, but his other arm is out of the photograph. And that's why I put it on the bedstead so that I could see it. But he was in short sleeves, and I'm going, I don't want to copy this exactly. I mean, that's somebody's photograph and his costume. I try not to copy other people's work. That's why I prefer to work from my own photographs whenever I can. And so I was kind of designing the fabric as we go, and it was like, okay, most of this is in warm yellow tones. I'll go for the warm yellow tones. Well, that looks boring. I started to put on the stripes, and I'm going, God, I'm going to get this wrong, because I'm inventing where the stripes go over the folds. But the red swash was just because this is all yellow. And many of my better pieces, I feel, have a splash of red. Working in that kind of detailed metalwork was definitely a challenge, so I learned from that. The fact that the lower section is in complete shadow and yet integrates with the higher lights. Light and shadow is something I struggle with in paintings. I mean, again, for decades I was doing nothing but black and white. So black and white is simple, but transitioning the grays and the subtones is something I fight with every painting I do. And to get to the point where along his flank, there's nothing but a dot where one of the rivets is to show where it's there, that it's there. The bare traces of how this raised metal transitions from light to shadow. And the same thing with the helm. That's what I would say is what I learned the most from that piece. For Lancelot is actually a technique I learned from David Cherry. Many years ago, we were both at a Gen Con together. He and I had been on panels at shows for a number of years, so we were friends. And I said, I'm frustrated with my art. I feel like I've hit a plateau and I can't get any further. He said, come over, stay at the house for a week. We'll talk shop. I'll show you stuff, some of the tricks I've learned. But one of his technique for those kind of backgrounds, the random colored backgrounds, it's multiple layers that shine through and reflect on each other. And you put down one color and then it's a scumbling technique with, a ruined brush already. And you just keep doing it until you get the patterns and shadows you want in usually increasingly darker colors, starting from very light color, probably that base yellow, and then, burnt umber and then raw sienna or something like that as working my way up. And, probably Payne's gray at the darkest areas. The emotional story I wanted was hidden power and multiple faces. There's the crow face, there are his eyes that you can't see, there's the pair of eyes on the shoulders, there's the Medusa pair, there's the pair in the lion head where he has his hand. I typically function from an emotional place. That gives me stance, body, expression if a person is involved, or the content I want to convey, intensity. I can't say I remember that, but that certainly is what I wanted. I am a capable, powerful man who, I don't want you to mistake, I don't know how PG-13 you are or not, I don't want you f***ing around with me, okay? But also the hidden sense with the multiple faces of you don't know who I really am.
Oh God, it's crazy. That's the first time I've seen that, actually. So we're recording the outro after having watched that for the first time. Mm-hmm. Man, my gosh, that's overwhelming.
Crazy,
actually.
Right?
Yeah, that fills me with things that I feel strongly. I'm trying to. Yeah, it's like there's so much to all of this that goes unnoticed for the vast majority of people and projects, and it's just one card.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
I still have trouble coming to grips with the fact that this piece exists and that it was used for our promo and that it is what it is, and getting to sit down and talk with her and hear her explaining her process and what she learned and the feeling she wanted people to, it's like, it is how I feel. It is intense. Absolute joy and privilege. So Liz, thank you so much for doing this. Erik's Curiosa, for making this possible.
My gosh.
Working with us to do this, Matt. What do you even say?
Yeah, they're on our website. If you want one, they're there. And thanks so much for being here. I mean, there's people that have probably been with us for a decade plus now, and that decade plus is the journey of us as kids engaging with this hobby, and then now interviewing Liz Danforth. Absolutely nice. So thank you all for being here. Appreciate you.